As member pleases. Mr. Kanyangela, can I ask you please to turn to Mr. Shangalala's affidavit, and in particular page 22. So, have you got it, Mr. Kanyangela?
Yes.
Okay. You'll see that part of the affidavit, or that section of the affidavit, is titled Matters of Concern.
Yes, correct.
Now, can I just ask you to please turn to page 17 and you'll see that part of the affidavit is referred to as the ESO application.
Yes.
And it starts at paragraph 29 and it goes up to paragraph 37.
Yes.
Now, in those paragraphs, 29 to 37, Mr. Shangalala outlines these matters that we are talking about. He says that the first application for a warrant was made on the 23rd, then Mr. Esau challenged it, then there was a second application for a warrant on the 26th, and he outlines all the differences, many of which I have dealt with in my cross-examination up to now.
Yes.
Okay. Now, thereafter, and I want you to react, he says that those matters that we've been talking about, or we've been interacting about, he says those matters raise the following concerns, and I want to raise those with you and get your response to them. It can be very quick because quite often you've given your responses, but I would just like to be formally in response to what Mr. Shangalala himself has said. He says, I aver and submit that the matters I have set out above raise several serious, quite serious concerns in themselves. He says, among the concerns are the following. First, in his affidavit of the 23rd of November 2019, Mr. Kanyangela was unequivocal that among the matters that the ACC was investigating were contraventions of the Anti-Corruption Act, fraud and money laundering, which I reiterate is an offense that is created by poker. Based on that affidavit, the prosecutor nevertheless alleged that the arrest was in contravention of the Anti-Corruption Act, and the magistrate authorized the arrest on that basis. Now, those are factual matters. Is that what happened when one looks at the documents?
What I can comment on this? Is that the offenses that is referring to in the paragraph there are also offenses that the Anti-Corruption Commission can investigate. Yes, other offenses facilitated by corrupt practices as per provisions of the Anti-Corruption Act.
Yes.
That is my comment on that one.
No, I understand. And that's what you said yesterday as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. And I'm just saying to you that whether your position is correct or the position that I have put to you and Mr. Shangalala sets out in his affidavit is for his lordship to decide not on the factual issues we have presented, but on a proper analysis of the Anti-Corruption Act and the Poker Act. I'm just putting that to you. You don't have to agree with me. I'm putting that to you.
Yes, I disagree with you.
Yes, no, I understand. You say you disagree that it is for you to decide, not for his lordship to decide.
No, it's for the lordship to decide.
Yes, okay. All right, then section 40, paragraph 40, the second point of concern he raises is, he says in his affidavit, that's in your affidavit of the 26th of November 2019, you stated that the ACC was investigating, that's the Anti-Corruption Commission, was investigating offences under the Anti-Corruption Act. You did not mention money laundering or fraud. Despite this, the prosecutor applied for and was granted warrants in respect of contraventions of the Anti-Corruption Act, poker, and fraud. Now, we've been through that yesterday. Is there anything you want to add to what you said yesterday?
I'm not adding anything.
Yes.
The answer could just be the same as the one I just given a few seconds ago.
Yes, no, I understand. And you maintain your stance that the Anti-Corruption Act gives you the power to investigate crimes or offences that are created by poker.
That are facilitated by corrupt practices.
Yes, okay, yes, no, that's the qualification you make.
Yes, that is the only qualification I can give.
And then at paragraph 41 he says, third, seen against the backdrop of his affidavit of the 23rd of November 2019, Mr. Kanyangela's affidavit of the 26th of November, read with the applications for the warrant, would suggest that a person or entity other than Mr. Kanyangela or the ACC was investigating the allegations relating to fraud and offences under poker. Now, you understand the nature of the allegation. It's something I raised with you yesterday. Can I, Mr. Kanyangela, I want you to react to it, but I just want to tell you that it is a matter we interacted about yesterday. Remember I said to you yesterday that you deliberately left out in your affidavit of the 26th that you were investigating money laundering and fraud. But the affidavit, the warrants nevertheless were granted in relation to money laundering and fraud. And you said that these were possible contraventions. And he is saying what I put to you yesterday, that you tried to create a wrong impression, a false impression, in fact.
And I just indicated that it was not deliberately done.
Okay. Okay, so can I then again just say that you accept that it was omitted, but you say it was just an error?
I have indicated this morning in this court that by making a statement I am not compelled to copy as to what was in my previous statement. And by not putting those offenses in this statement does not mean that such offenses were not committed.
Is that your answer,
So
sir?
it was not deliberately done.
Yes. But they were omitted, and you say not deliberate.
Yes.
Now, can I just ask you, because then Mr. Shangalala says, whatever impression you tried to create, the affidavit you made in support of the restraint application confirms that it is the Anti-Corruption Commission that was investigating all the matters that are listed in the indictment, which is Exhibit X before His Lordship. You remember the indictment?
Yes.
So let me just repeat my question. That is it your position now, and we can accept that we don't need to debate what happened, what you said in the affidavit of the 26th, but is it your position now that all the offences set out in the indictment, in particular the offences relating to racketeering activities and money laundering, were being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission?
That's correct. Yes, they were facilitated through the corrupt activities that we're investigating.
Yes. And
they emanated from there.
No, sorry, Mr. Kanyangela, I'd just like you to repeat your whole answer. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
I said the charges that were drawn up as per indictment, they were drawn up based on the investigation that the anti-corruption carried out as per the provisions of the Act.
As per the provisions of which Act?
Anti-Corruption Act.
Okay. So we can accept then that the investigations were done by the Anti-Corruption Commission, save to the extent, but the Namibian police played a role as you had identified yesterday.
Yes.
All right, and I just, because I don't want a dispute about this later, and their role was conducting searches together with the Anti-Corruption Commission. Is that correct?
Yes.
The second was to arrest the accused persons.
Yes.
That's physically arrest them, though the applications for the warrant were in fact initiated by you, Mr. Kanyangela.
Yes.
Then getting warning statements.
Yes.
Now that, as I understand it, was what Mr. Becker did.
That's correct.
His name, though, does not appear in the list of police officers, which is set out in Z46, Mr. Becker's name.
His name does not appearing in.
Yes. All right. Then And those were the only warning statements taken, though. They were taken on the 27th of November 2019, right?
Yes.
Then identifying and seizing assets of
Yes.
the accused, and then getting documents in respect of assets.
Yes.
That's what you outlined yesterday, or said yesterday, was their role, the role of the Namibian police in this matter.
Is a role that I have involved them in.
Yes. But that was the role that you involved them in, and that was the role they played.
That's correct.
Kanyangela, why? Because I intended asking you questions relating to your affidavit in the restraint application and the prosecutor's, the affidavit of the Prosecutor General in the restraint application. And I intended identifying where it is said, where reference is made to the fact that it was the Anti-Corruption Commission that had in effect carried out the investigation. I needn't put that to you now, because you now accept that it was the Anti-Corruption Commission which effectively, save for those 5 matters that we've dealt with, conducted the investigations in this matter. Sorry?
Since I did not catch up your explanation.
It was a question, sir.
Then can you rephrase the question? You can repeat, my lord.
Yes. I'm saying, and I'm trying to save time because we've been through a lot. One of the things I thought was in dispute, given what you had left out in your affidavit of the 26th of November, was whether the Anti-Corruption Commission was doing the investigations. But now it seems as if you agree that it was the Anti-Corruption Commission which had done all the investigations, save for those aspects in which it was assisted by the Namibian police as you outlined, and as I read to you just now, being your evidence from yesterday.
Your investigation was carried out by the Commission, and this case is a case of a complex nature, of which investigation cannot be easily separated from one another. To say that this one is now related to poker, we must give it to poker, or to investigate. It's money that we are investigating, money involved, in the conduct of the accused persons. What we were following is the benefit of these people and how such benefit was utilized. And it was based on all the documents or statements we obtained that the Prosecutor General make a decision and draw up charges as they are appearing in the indictment. So I can say most of the investigation was conducted by Anti-Corruption Commission.
All except those 5 matters.
Among the other 5 matters, like in the identifying of assets, ACC did also do the same, especially if you came to know that this money was used for this purpose. We have to carry out such investigation. And while we see a necessity of the police to follow up a specific matter, then we pass it to them to carry out such investigation. That is how the investigation was conducted, and that is what led to the drawing up of those charges.
Mr. Kanyangela, you heard my question. And I'm going to repeat it for you, because you seem to have a well-rehearsed speech as to why the ACC is entitled to investigate. And I'm saying that deliberately because I listened to your answers yesterday. And the answer you just gave in relation to why the ACC would want to deal with this matter, and it's still a legal question, but I'm going to ask you, did you talk about this matter to anybody between yesterday and today?
To anybody?
Yes.
No.
See, I'm going to say to you that the record will reflect that your answer today, and I'm going to say to you, is irrelevant, because the question is not whether it's a question of necessity, but the question of whether you have the power. The ACC has the power. But I'm going to say to you that it seems to be a well-rehearsed position you are now setting out, which you've never set out up to now. Anyway, I'm just putting that to you.
I really don't catch up what you're meaning.
Yes. Now, again, I just want us so that there's no dispute about it. The ACC did all the investigations in this matter except for those 5 issues. Is that correct or not?
Yes, we did the investigation.
No, the question is all the investigations except for those 5 issues.
Is the ACC and the special investigator who were contracted, which is Deloitte & Touch.
But those persons, the special investigators, and that was one of them being Deloitte, were appointed in terms of the Anti-Corruption Act, right?
That's correct.
Yes. So the ACC and persons who were appointed in terms of the Anti-Corruption Act did all the investigations except for those 5 matters.
Yes, we carried out that investigation.
No, Mr. I'm not going to accept a qualification, and we're going to be here forever. The ACC and persons whom it appointed in terms of the Anti-Corruption Act did all the investigations in this matter, except for those 5 matters that you said the police carried out? Yes or no?
I think with my testimony, in chief, I have indicated the people or the officers that had been involved in this investigation, in which I mentioned the Anti-Corruption Commission, in which I mentioned the police, and in which I mentioned people from Ministry of Finance. Those were the people who carried the investigation in this matter.
Yes. So now we've introduced the people from the Ministry of Finance.
They were mentioned in examination in chief. He referred now, I heard him saying what I said in examination in chief. He did mention the people from finance in examination in chief, Your Lordship. It's not a new introduction.
My Lord, that is quite correct. Your Lordship will recall that the questions arising in this matter are in respect of Section 83, and Section 83 refers to the police. Now, these are diversions, and it doesn't assist my learned friend to introduce those matters, and it doesn't assist the witness, because at the end of the day, my Lord, the question, and it's been an affidavit since November last year, the question really is the Anti-Corruption Commission entitled to investigate poker-related matters? That is the issue. Now, if the Ministry of Finance is reflected in Section 83, it would make a difference as to the relevance of what the witness has said. This part of the cross-examination has been to identify the extent to which the police were involved. And so when I say you've introduced that now, I am relating to the poker-related matters, my Lord.
Yes, you are both correct in the sense that he's answering.
Yes.
He answered in the way where he said what I said in my examination.
No, I understand perfectly.
But what you are saying is,
yes,
maybe what you need to do is to bring him back and say that's not what I asked.
No, I
Yes.
appreciate that. But my and my Lord,
And I'll
Your
allow
Lordship
you
is
to
good.
proceed.
As my Lord, please. Yeah. But Mr. Kanyangela, can I just say to you, I want you now to identify precisely what the ACC didn't do in regard to the investigations. So I've said to you that the ACC did all the investigations, and you say no, but the police did A, B, C, and D. A, B, C, D, and E. You have mentioned 5 matters. Then you've introduced the special investigators, and I've pointed out that that's in terms of the Anti-Corruption Act.
Yes, correct.
Right. Now, I just want to know, because when His Lordship makes a decision about the cogency of the point we made about the investigations being unauthorized investigations in regard to poker-created offences being unauthorized, His Lordship has a clear idea of what the factual matrix is upon which he must make his decision. Now, Section 83 of POCA talks about the police being involved on the basis that the Inspector General will deal with, will authorize persons. We know that the Inspector General cannot authorize the ACC. That's what the Act says. So I'm asking you now, concentrating on the police, except for those 5 matters that you've identified what the police did, were the police involved in any other activities, yes or no?
There were a few statements that the police obtained. I can recall only 2. One was obtained. I can recall the one of Mr. Morel. I think I have also mentioned it during my evidence in chief. But most of the investigations was done by the ACC, and I still stick to say the investigation was done on corrupt practices and other offenses emanating.
We've been through that, Mr. Kanyangela.
Yes. Otherwise, I don't have any other answer apart from that one.
Except to confirm that the 5 matters were the only matters that the police assisted in.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get on, because as soon as you are given an opportunity to say something else, you start qualifying things. So before you do that, can I ask you this now? How long have you been with the ACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission?
I have been there for 12 years.
And before that?
I was a member of the Namibian police.
How many years?
I have with the investigation department of the police for 8 years. Commercial Crime Investigation Unit.
So you've been an investigator in law enforcement in Namibia for about 20 years.
That's correct.
Now, just in relation to the ACC, you've investigated many matters. I mean, you've been with them for 12 years, is that right?
Yes.
Some of these matters have come to court.
That's correct.
Many of them.
Yes.
Okay. Now, to your knowledge, I'm asking about your knowledge, has the ACC ever investigated a money laundering or racketeering matter except in this matter?
I can say ACC did investigate such type of offenses because you can investigate a case docket after completing the case docket. You send it to the Office of the Prosecutor General for a decision. When it comes back, it came up with different charges emanating from that investigation. of which some could be money laundering, some could be fraud. That's why I say ACC did also investigate that.
Give me one example. Sorry, go ahead.
That's why I say such type of offenses were also investigated by the ACC.
You heard my question, Mr. We've been through your interpretation of the Anti-Corruption Act. You say you're entitled to. I'm asking you a different question. I'm saying, has the ACC investigated and charged as a result of its investigation, the ACC's investigation, has anybody been charged with money, and let's forget fraud now, I'm not talking about fraud, money laundering or racketeering? I'm not asking about could, I'm asking about, to your knowledge, did that happen?
I said,
Mr. Kanyangela,
my lordship,
do you go to church?
sometimes.
Okay. Do you drink water?
Yes, my lord.
Do you walk?
Yes.
Okay. Simple as that. You see the pattern. Those are the answers. You don't need to say, do you walk? We are lengthening the process. You see, the question is, do you walk? Yes, no. So I just attempted to show you that answer the questions, we move on. It's you. Yes,
Yes, my
Mr.
lord.
Yes, Mr. Mr. Sonny, you can repeat the question.
As my lord, please. Mr. Kanyangele, the question is, to your knowledge, has the ACC ever investigated a poker-created offense, in particular racketeering or money laundering?
I don't have a specific case that I can refer to. But yes.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Kanyangela. The question is specific to your knowledge. I don't want your impressions of what the law allows you to do. That is for His Lordship to make a decision.
I'm not aware of any.
Yes. And in relation to yourself, this is the first case in which you, as an investigator, instituted poker-created charges against persons.
Yeah, that is the first case.
Lord, I want to move on to a new issue. I have more or less finished the issue of the the Section 83 complaint, my Lord. I have two smaller issues, and they are all contained in the affidavit of Mr. Shangalala. They are unlikely to go on for much. They certainly won't be as long as this. And I'm quite confident we ought to finish my part of the cross-examination in a morning session the next time we gather, my Lord.
Yes. As I've indicated, I'm not available after 2. Shall we? So the matter stands down to Monday, 21 February. And we are booked from Monday, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 28, 1 March, 2 March, except 3 March, and 4 March.
Yes, Your Lordship.
We are all.
You mentioned that the 4th, I'm tied up before Judge Shafimana.
The 4th March.
But the 4th of
What time do you start?
24th of February.
4th of February.
24th
24th February.
of February, my Lord.
We can start at 11 on that day.
No, my Lord, we started, it's final submissions, we started 10.
Oh, okay.
So I believe by lunch we should be done.
So we started.
If I can suggest maybe in the afternoon, my Lord.
Okay.
As a police issue.
All right, we will get to there when we are there.
As a
But
police issue.
I just want to indicate the days
Yes, my Lord.
that we have available to us.
No, those days generally are available with that can qualify, my Lord.
Mr. Marondete? Mr. Lutubit?
Yes, Your Lordship, we are available.
Okay. Mr. Engelbrecht? All right. Yes, the matter then stands down to 21 February for continuation of the cross-examination.
As
As it is about.
Yes, you may sit down. You may sit down. Mr. Kanyangela, except for you. Unfortunately for you, you are still under cross-examination.
Yes, my Lord.
Well, the admonition that I gave you yesterday, for the period until you are done with cross-examination, you are not allowed to speak to anybody. And when I say anybody, you can only speak to yourself about this matter. You sleep and say, but beware, don't speak in your sleep to somebody. Including the State Council, your colleagues at work, your children, your wife, whoever, you are not allowed to speak about this matter.
Yes, my Lord.
You fully understand?
Yes, my Lord.
So you remain under cross-examination until 21 February 2022. And I cannot overemphasize that you may not speak about this matter.
Yes, my Lord.
Right, God will rise until the... Okay, sorry, there is a...
Maybe the situation was some different from yesterday. My Lord, I was just highlighting that His Lordship maybe may not, maybe omit the situation of the accused. But if His Lordship is comfortable, we can
What is that?
remand them accordingly.
Basically, just to make the order that if detained at Window Correctional Facility, the court order starts also to reflect that.
If it's necessary, my lord.
Oh, I must say that yes, I never released them.
All right, as a pleases, my lord.
Okay. No, but no, it's good that you direct me. So I must make an order that they continue to be detained, or that they are detained.
That is normal practice.
Okay. Practices need to be logical. All right, the applicants. I have applicants before me. I don't have accused. Before me, I have applicants. The applicants remain detained in the correctional services at the. Is it the Windhoek?
Yes, trial awaiting section, Your Lordship.
Yeah, trial awaiting section.
As it plays the court.
Matter, court will rise.